All right, how's everyone doing? I am Rich CELENZA. Thanks for tuning into the Rich CELENZA Show. So this is going to be another kind of interesting podcast, at least for me. What I'm going to call it is, do your bad habits help you get what you want or prevent it? Or preventing it? I don't know how the hell I'm going to word it, but whatever, you get the point. That, a lot of times I think people think habits are always bad, which I can't say that. There's good habits and bad habits. That's stupid. But what looks to be a bad habit. If you know anything about me, I grew up in the bar and nightclub industry. And what was quite interesting with me is I always look at things from two different perspectives. All right? Let's just start with drugs. And a lot of times I would see guys that were drug addicts, even at a very young age, that, got their lives destroyed. They lost everything. A lot of them became cokeheads, especially in the 70s and 80s, right? Some even ended up in heroin. Some OD'd. I even had family members that went through this. I have a massive family, and a lot have passed away because of drug and alcohol abuse. And if it didn't kill them overdose, which some did, eventually it just took a toll on their body. But, that's a horrible habit. I used to look at drugs. And I'm not here to condone drugs. But I'm also here to tell you what was quite interesting being in the bar and nightclub business when I started to get older, being in gentlemen's clubs, hypothetically, and I knew guys that did drugs too, let's say coke and whatever, and some of them ran the places, some of them managed them, some were doormen, whatever, and they used drugs to party with women. They had a blast, got laid. That's what they wanted to do. They made money. Don't get me wrong, a lot of them went to the joint, but a lot didn't too. But, you look at it and say, okay, it's illegal. I get that, but let's push that aside. What was interesting is you have, if you looked and said, my God, that's a bad habit, okay? And I get it. It kind of does look like a bad habit, but a lot of guys I know that did drugs or whatever, which was a majority of them, a ton, especially in Florida. This is going on in Florida, which I used to say it's easier to get coke, snort. It's easier to, get blow than it was to get to the bar to get a drink of coke a lot of times. That's how easy getting coke in Florida was. But, I just, again, look at things from two different perspectives. Some people can handle it and some people cannot, right? And I'm not here just to talk about drugs, and I don't even know if I should have used that for an example, but I did. But I'm here to ask you, do your habits, are they helping you or hurting you? And I'll go back to artists as well. I grew up around musicians, comedians, and all these dudes. And, a lot of musicians I know say they smoked weed, which I don't have anything against anyone that smoked weed. Never did, never understood that. I would never be like, oh, that dude smokes weed, I can't hang with him, or he's an asshole. That's fucking ridiculous. Even drugs. Some of my closest friends did drugs. Sometimes they still want to do drugs. You think I'm going to be like, oh, he does drugs, he's a bad person. Are you nuts? That doesn't make me do drugs. And I'm not hanging out with people that are going to steal out of my wallet for drugs. Or let's not get crazy here. But musicians, a lot that I knew that like to smoke weed, and this goes for filmmakers, I should say, actors, whatever, that really made them creative. It was amazing. Like, whatever they were doing, and it could be drinking, it could be whatever they did. Now, I'm not saying they weren't abusing their body. Maybe they were. It's none of my business. But again, they were doing what they loved to do, and they were getting results. And then back to my family members and other people I know, I would, see them, and they were just doing drugs, and they were just destroying their lives. That's all, they would do drugs, sit around, and go in and out again, rehab, or in and out of jail. And again, life is quite interesting like this. And I think if you're somebody, again, I don't know what you do with your life, and I am going to say this last one. I'll just throw fitness in there. A lot of guys, I've discussed this even about myself, you took something healthy, so a lot of guys can work out, and even some can take steroids, right? And they're fine. They work out, they get jacked for a while, they get off them, they're cool. They're not addicted, they don't have anger issues, they're not in jail. Then you have other guys that, abuse steroids. Let's say take too much, don't know what they're doing, can end up, in a really bad situation, who knows what, where it works for someone and it doesn't work for someone else. But back to who you are, maybe sometimes just stepping back and saying, am I getting what I want out of life with the habits that I have? Now, I went extreme, but it could be anything. It could be eating. It could be, and again, I love food, but are you overeating? Are you not eating enough? Just saying. So a lot of people think, oh, he really maintains his body because he does this type of diet or this. Is it really helping you, that habit? Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. Maybe you should look at yourself and say, really, is this working for me? Because what we kind of do daily or whatever our type of routines, they become habits, right? I don't care if it's coffee again. I don't care if it's food. I don't care if it's a certain amount of sleep. Just kind of pay attention to this. And I don't think, too, and like I said, you think a lot of people have all these good habits and shit's always going their way. Like, oh, my God, they eat so well. And you know what? They got a great job. And you know what? They exercise so well. And whatever the case may be, that's wonderful. And if that's your thing. But don't think because that's not your thing, too, that you're not healthy or that you can't live a healthy life. I'm just saying, don't create the habits that work for you, I guess is what I'm saying. And a lot of times, a lot of habits may not always be the best for you necessarily, but you enjoy them. And I think a lot of people feel fault for doing that. Again, now it seems like it's becoming more and more, accepted smoking weed, but years ago, you were condemned. Same with drinking. If you like having some drinks, do what you got to do. I wouldn't recommend becoming an alcoholic. And I do think sometimes, having too many drinks per week is going to take a toll on you. But if you kind of enjoy drinking socially and it's fun and you're not hurting anyone, you're not getting in a car drunk, you're not abusing anybody physically or mentally, you do what you do. That's life. If you're not doing what you want to do, what the fuck are you living for? So these are just some things that I've been thinking about throughout my life because when I fall in love with something, I guess you could say, or working on something, I'm all in. And then I don't sometimes, even though people be like, oh man, you created this, you're doing this. That may look like a good habit, but then I realize, say in my relationship with my girlfriend, I'm so caught up doing what I'm doing, I'm neglecting her. I may even find myself neglecting my kids. Not because I mean to neglect them, I'm just busy kind of doing what I always wanted to do. It may not be cocaine, right? And it may not be alcohol. It may not be even fitness. It can be me just creating, but me getting so sucked into it. As much as I love doing this, then I look back and go, wow, what am I missing here? I have a good working habit or ethic and working out, but then I realize with relationships sometimes I just lose track of time. And, my grandmother passed this last week, and I think I'm going to do a podcast on it. If you have the chance to do something or you want to do it, do it. Don't wait. You probably heard it throughout your life because especially if you want to do it with somebody, one of the best things I ever did for my life is I always wanted to go to Italy with my uncles some years back. And I got to do that. And I almost blew that off. I was almost like, we'll get another time to do it. And one of my uncles is actually sick right now. And now that they're older, I don't know if they can even handle that. But I did it, man. So if you have an opportunity to do something like that, do it. So hopefully you got something out of this. But don't think you have to be perfect in your life, regarding your habits. I don't think for the most part everyone has, or maybe there are people that supposedly have perfect habits, sleeping patterns, eating, like I said, fitness. They don't drink, they don't smoke, whatever the case may be. God bless if that works for them. But who gives a fuck about them? You got to live your own life, figure out your own ways. If you like doing certain things, and I'm not telling you to go out and break the law, do whatever the hell you want to do, but enjoy your life. And what may be a bad habit to somebody else may be kind of a good habit or something fun for someone else. So that's just my theory. All right, I'm going to wrap it up there. If you get a chance, check out my YouTube channel, Rich CELENZA. And you can check out my website, richcelenza.com. I'm on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And what else the hell do I got going out there? I got my program, Mastering Self-Confidence. So if you ever need anything regarding, I kind of try to help men find the woman or women of their dreams, even if they've been through a bad breakup or divorce. So if you're interested in any of that, send me an email, leave a comment, whatever the case may be. I love communicating and helping people more than anything. So if you listen to my show, I want to thank you. I sometimes forget to do that, but I'd like to do it more often. Or you watch me or subscribe to YouTube. I really appreciate that. I'm not just saying that from the heart. I really do try to help people in any way I can, but I'm only helping people with what I believe in, and I've discussed this before. Maybe my my input or my information may not be very beneficial to you. If it isn't, I'm sorry for wasting your time. But sometimes I think some of the things I say just gives people a different perspective in life. And that's kind of what the podcast is really about. All right, take care, and I wish you nothing but the best.